Well, hello again. Today I have the privilege of being with a very special visitor from Israel, Daniel LAURIE, who is involved with an organisation called Ateret Cohanim. Now, what is fascinating and important about this work is that they are helping and facilitating the Jewish acquisition of property in Yerushalayim, in Jerusalem. So, Daniel, can you tell us a little bit more about your organisation, what it is, how it works?
Sure, thank you for being here. Ateret Cohanim, also known as Jerusalem Chai, Jerusalem Lives, is a non-profit organisation that basically is doing everything possible to try and keep united Jerusalem in Jewish hands.
Right.
We strengthen Jewish roots, we reclaim old Jewish properties in what's called the Holy Basin. You see, there's only really one part of East Jerusalem, if I have a look here.
Yeah, hold it. That's very good.
There's one part of East Jerusalem. This is West Jerusalem, and in 1967, of course, we know that the Israeli government annexed a part of the Judea and Samaria and created a united Jerusalem. And the Israeli government built massive Jewish neighborhood, that's the purple, all around in this area of Eastern Jerusalem. But there's one little part which happens to be the most important area for the Jewish people. That's the Old City and the area around the Old City. It's called the Holy Basin.
Right.
In that area, the Israeli government never built any massive Jewish neighborhoods. So one man with a dream, Mati Dan, and the organization Ateret Cohanim decided, well, surely Jews have historical, legal, and natural rights to be able to live in that area.
Of course.
And therefore, we're going back to that area. The area was full of Jews 150 years ago. The Muslim quarter of today was the main Jewish area before 3 sets of pogroms, and we lost Jerusalem in 1948. So we're basically going back to the old Jewish quarter, today known as the Muslim quarter. We've gone back to the city of David. There's an old Yemenite village opposite the city of David, east of the city of David, where the Yemenite Jews came in 1882, and they were kicked out in 1938. We've gone back there. There's today 20 Jewish families there. We just managed to get back to the old synagogue. There's a Jewish neighborhood on the Mount of Olives today. So anything to do with trying to hold on to Jerusalem, in some ways you could call it Jewish facts on the ground, that's right. Also ensuring, because of the political ramifications, it's also ensuring that Jerusalem stays in Jewish hands. If there wasn't Jewish life there, then who knows what some government may have done in the past.
So you're saying that even the Muslim quarter, as people now know it, until relatively recently had a lot of Jewish ownership, that Jews had deeds to property, that sort of thing?
It's not even a question. There were 19,500, this is a Turkish census, not even my propaganda. It's
right.
19,500 Jews out of 28,000 residents of the old city were Jewish. That's a Turkish census and later a British census. What is today known as the Muslim quarter had 21 synagogues and 6 yeshivot, centers of Jewish learning. Wow. So it was the hub of Jewish activity. But 1920, there was a pogrom. 28, 29, a massive pogrom. 1936 to 37, 38, another. So 3 sets of pogroms, and the 1948 war where Jerusalem was lost. Suddenly that 19,000 was decimated to 0.
Well, this is a really important piece of modern history, which I don't think is well known and well understood, that the Jewish ownership of the Muslim quarter. Now, I've been there and seen quite a lot of prominence given to the residence of a former Prime Minister.
Yes. Ariel Sharon did something rather unique in the late 1980s, approached the organisation and said...
Approached your organisation?
Yes. We're basically the only organisation that deals with the revival of Jewish life and holding on to Jerusalem, the Holy Basin. The city of David is a separate issue with archaeology and tourism. But the focus today is obviously this organisation, which is very volatile and very important for the future of Jerusalem. So he approached the organisation and said, what is there to buy? I want to make a statement. Ariel Sharon, I want to make a statement. I'd like to own something. He never really lived there, but he helped reclaim an apartment that was in a building called the House of Wittenberg, which interestingly enough, a few years ago was found out that that's where Mark Twain stayed because it was the Mediterranean Hotel before Moshe Wittenberg bought it in 1880. But it's actually 150 years ago to this month, or a month ago, in 1867, Mark Twain was in the Mediterranean Hotel, later to become the House of Wittenberg, where there were 20 Jewish families. The families were kicked out, and slowly but surely, Ateret Cohanim has managed to go back there. You see, there's no shortage of Arabs selling, even though it's difficult, in fact, more than difficult. An Arab who sells to a Jew is killed because of an Arab fatwa. It's one of the most disgraceful edicts that exist in the world. I don't think in Australia you pass 10 seconds having a look at you. You're not allowed to sell to a Greek or an Italian. Would never pass.
No, of course not.
But in the Arab world, we're seeing a very problematic, to say the least, culture in some ways. And this fatwa, this edict, says that an Arab is not allowed to sell to a Jew. A middleman can be tortured to death if he's involved also. So the acquisitions is not straightforward. We have to bend over backwards and somersaults and do a number of things to protect the Arab who is selling. But there's no shortage of Arabs selling. There's no shortage of families ready to move in who pay rent to whoever owns it around the world.
Roughly how many of these transactions has your organisation assisted with, Daniel?
A great question. I'm not sure I've got an answer. I've never really been asked that particular question. I can tell you the bottom line. Okay. We have today 1,000 Jewish residents living in the old Jewish quarter.
Wow.
We have 100 families living on the Mount of Olives.
Okay.
60% or 55% of the city of David is in Jewish hands. There are 20 Jewish families living today in the old Yemenite village in the heart of Silwan, under 5 from the Arabs. We've got families living in Kidmat Zion, which is opposite Abu Dis. Altogether, the number of Jews living in the Holy Basin is probably just under 4,000 today. There's a long way to go. There's a lot of work to be done. And it's not just the acquisitions. We have projects, there's children's projects and security projects. We need the Jewish world involved in looking after the families who are there, nurseries, play centres, the playgrounds, and like I said, some of the security projects.
And what are the implications for the future of Jerusalem and keeping Jerusalem united? It sounds like you're laying a very important foundation.
Well, we are at the forefront. For those that want to see Jerusalem divided, we are, I think they call us stumbling blocks to peace. For those that want to see Jerusalem stay in Jewish hands, then there is nothing more paramount, nothing more important and vital than adding this Jewish life to the heart of Jerusalem. I would say with Hanukkah around the corner, in some ways, we're like the Maccabees of this generation. Maccabees, once upon a time against the Greeks, they fought for Jewish sovereignty. Now, yes, we have sovereignty of the whole of Jerusalem, but it's very tenuous inside the heart of the old city and the area around the Holy Basin, because that's what the Arab world wants. They know they're not going to get French Hill. There's 225,000 Jews living in East Jerusalem today, what the world says is East Jerusalem. So that's gone. But the Holy Basin is problematic. And that's the area that we are focusing on. So for those that want to see Jerusalem stay in Jewish hands for eternity, the future of Jerusalem centers around the activities of this particular non-profit.
Okay. Well, I think it's important. We've seen the international community attack Jewish identity in Jerusalem and elsewhere. The United Nations Security Council resolution last year, UNESCO this year, and what you're doing is being at the front line, re-establishing a Jewish stake in the most important areas. So, Daniel, we will put in the comments section the first comment under this video. If anybody wants to find out more information or support you financially, is there a website they can donate?
Well, there are two things. First, we have a website. It's www.jerusalemchai, C-H-A-I, jerusalemchai, one word, .org.
Right.
Or people can be in contact with me, as in DL Jerusalem, Daniel Luria, DL Jerusalem, one word, @gmail.com, to find out about the projects and also, importantly, also to know about the acquisitions, ideological and real investments.
And if anyone of means would like to actually own a property or facilitate a project, send a message to our Facebook page and we'll put you in touch with Daniel directly. And Chatzala Rabbah,
Toda Rabbah.
and great success for the holy work that you're doing.
God willing. Thank you.